Let's talk about this guy, Gosnell, in Pennsylvania, who's been arrested, an abortionist there, who people have been, in the pro-life movement, been warning the authorities about for 20 years, and they're not doing anything. Now he's been arrested and charged with 8 counts of murder. And even the secular news is saying the place he was running is just a toilet, which it was, if you've seen any of the video. Pennsylvania. He's been charged with killing one of his patients, and then also with 7 counts of murder for babies he induced the woman to have the baby instead of aborting the baby, induced the woman to have the baby, and then he was doing what's called snipping, which he takes a pair of industrial scissors or whatever and cuts the umbilical cord on the back of the baby's neck to kill him. The baby's outside the womb and alive, and they found a lot of these babies stuffed in closets, stuffed in plastic bags in the refrigerator, in jars, and he's been charged.
Mark, as horrible as this is, and it is. The gruesome details are coming out into the news, and you'd actually have to be living under a rock not to hear some of this stuff, even in the secular media. But it's some of the same things that we have reported on the show, we've talked about, we've seen firsthand. In fact, the former abortion clinic that our office is in experienced a lot of the same exact complaints.
Well, we came up there and did the video.
Absolutely.
Right. But here's the thing I think that needs to be said about this, is there's a ton of hypocrisy around this issue. The media is out here going, oh, this is horrible, he's killing these little babies outside the womb and everything. And even some pro-lifers have seen this as more horrible than the normal abortion. It's not.
It's not.
And this is the thing that makes me so angry, is that had he cut the spinal cords of these little babies while they were still in the womb, it'd be a choice, right?
Nobody's complaining about the first trimester abortions that rip them to pieces. This is saying it's just as horrible everywhere, state to state, every state.
What we're talking about here is location. And again, in a bizarre kind of way, you could say this guy's at least intellectually honest compared to other pro-aborts. He's not seeing any distinction between killing them in the womb and killing them out. For him, it's easier to kill them outside the womb. He can deal with them easier. And so he's intellectually honest.
It's actually one of the safest procedures when you think about it. When you're talking about
safe for who?
Safe for the mother.
Right.
It's the safest abortions because you're not putting sharp instruments into the womb that are oftentimes very, very destructive. Right. And he had a list of, I think, 41 different malpractice lawsuits where he's perforated uteruses, perforated bowels, perforated cervixes, sent women to the hospital on numerous occasions. At least 2 women have died at the hands of this guy.
Why is he getting charged with murder, though? That's the point of the women going there, is to get their children murdered. He's getting the job done. What's the problem?
That's my argument.
My hope in all of this is finally they're going after somebody.
Yeah.
That's my hope in it. And I hope he's just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. I hope they get nailed every abortion that's out there. And the thing that really, and what makes me really happy about it is because this brother was a black guy. So which means he wasn't no brother at all. Mm-hmm. And so regardless of what a person's race is, this shows you that abortionists are bad, mean, nasty folks. And they need to be put in prison.
Yes, Johnny. And don't forget where he separated the black patients from the white patients, because he said the black folks don't complain like the white folks do.
Yeah, they're saying that in his facility, he had nicer facilities for the white patients than the black ones, because the black ones don't complain.
Mm-hmm. It's like the drug dealers out on the street. You go into a black neighborhood, you see black guys out there doing drugs. Now the kind of drugs they sell to the black community, believe it or not, really is different from the black and the drugs they sell to the white community. And I think the thing I love about this, though, I hope this guy goes to jail, if not worse.
They're talking about seeking the death penalty on him.
Well, see, it's a wake-up call. I am seeing hope that they actually went after somebody.
See, that's the good news. Remember, Bruce Steer killed Sharon Hamplin. He got 3-4 months for manslaughter. Rapine Ostenhahn, we reported about him a couple months ago. He got 3 months in jail, 9 months in kind of house arrest, paid $2 million. And now this guy is being charged with murder. And not just murder. I mean, like racketeering charges, corrupt organization charges, illegal distribution of drugs, and not just the abortionist, but the abortionist's wife, the other medical workers that were doing abortions that didn't have licenses. They're all being charged with murder. Yeah. So this is an advance. Right. And after 38 years, we should be excited that the things that we've been saying shouting from the mountaintops, putting out press releases, holding signs, are now being reported by the lamestream media. And I'm well, look, Carhartt's doing the same thing. Tiller was doing the exact same thing. Andrew Rutland in California is doing the exact same thing. We're dealing with some issues down here in Texas that are doing the exact same thing. I'm hoping that this is, one of the big first nails in the coffin of Roe versus Wade.
So, the problem that we're already seeing, of course, the so-called mainstream, left-stream, godless media in this country, they're circling the wagons around this guy. And they're trying to make this seem like, oh, well, he's just the bad apple. No, this is the way the abortion industry operates. And people think, oh, you're nuts. They don't all operate this way. I guarantee you, if you work in most of these abortion clinics, you and I have talked to millions of these employees that come out of these places. We all have. And they all have these same kind of stories about things that go on. For some reason, this district attorney in Philadelphia that's going after this guy, who happens to be black, by the way, that's another neat aspect of this story, because this abortionist is black, there'd be people out there raising the specter. Sure. If this was a white district attorney saying, oh, he's just going after him because but this guy is black and he is hot for this deal. And he's doing a great job and he's to be commended for it. But the fact is that this is business as usual. Mm-hmm. And every day, all over this country. And, we keep talking about women being sexually abused and sexually assaulted in abortion clinics. And in my book, Line 5, there's a whole chapter on that. And that was just a tip of the iceberg as far as what we found. In this case, they found out now this guy's been taking pictures of these women at the abortion clinic and in compromising poses and so forth. And
you know what else?
And the pro-aborts and the pro-abortion women are defending him.
Defending this guy.
Oh, they're defending him. And, they want to run from this. But here's another thing that I want to bring out about this case. At the very end of this 300-page grand jury indictment presentation, there was what was really more of an indictment against the entire state officials, all the state officials that have been regulating this place. And what it said was, since Bob Casey left office as governor of the state of Pennsylvania, there was a systematic, destructive force that came in with pro-abortion policies that overlooked the safety that they were supposed to be presenting and guarding, safety of women that they were supposed to be guarding, for their pro-abortion policies. They put their abortion politics above principle, and that's how this place just caved into to where it was today, or where it happened to sit.
But we've seen this all over the country. We saw it in Arizona with Brian Finkel.
Well, we saw it in Arizona. We see it in Iowa. We see it in Nebraska. We see it in California. We see it here in Texas. We saw it in Kansas. The head of the medical board, Larry Buing, covered for George Tiller's abuses, which were exactly like the issues that we're talking about with Gosnell having.
Well, I'm saying safe legal route doesn't really mean that, huh?
Well, this is an indictment against the medical boards and the licensing agencies and the health departments around the country, and that's what this indictment said, that these guys need to start examining themselves and stop putting their pro-abortion politics over principle.
And don't let for a moment anybody think that it's worse in Pennsylvania than it is anywhere else. We've said it before, and I'll say it again, there's no right way to do a wrong thing. You cannot have a clean, well-run professional abortion industry because by its nature, it's like saying we're going to have a clean, well-run porn industry or prostitution. By its nature, it'll never be that way. And this is a good example of it. But it just makes me so angry that people out there, and especially in the media, are trying to portray this as this is one of those lone kind of one of kind of situations, and he's just the bad apple, and most of them are professional, well-run, medical facilities. This nonsense. Yeah. This is the norm.
Well, and the notes and the emails that I'm seeing from the abortion side, they are reeling. This is a black eye of the abortion industry, and they don't want to talk about it. But look, when one lone kook does something on the pro-life side, or we think it's the pro-life, everybody is painted with the broad brush. Right. Well, now we've got the bodies. Right. We've got Tiller, we've got Carhart, we've got Bruce Steer, we've got Rappin, we've got Gosnell and his whole crew, we've got David Hamilton, we've got Brian Finkel, all these abortionists that are dirty. I say this is the norm of the abortion industry.
It is the norm.
Well, I tell you what, last week I attended a Virginia rally for life, because in Virginia they're now really pushing for the regulation of abortion facilities. Mm-hmm. And even the abortion industry admit that if a regulation comes through, 9 of them will have to shut down.
Right. Now that's the AG Cusinelli?
Yeah, and I'm telling people, My goodness, they regulate barbershops, beauty shops. And there's a 21-page in the state of Virginia, 21 pages of regulations for a barbershop. In other words, they got to make sure the hair is swept off the floor, the scissors are kept clean and sterilized. And I'm going, which is more important? Clean hair off the floor or splat of blood sit on the floor? You know, are you going to talk about sterilized scissors is more important than whatever these abortionists are using?
Cannulas?
Yeah.
Where we catch these abortion clinics reusing cannulas from one woman to the next?
Right.
It's unbelievable. But anyway, I'm hoping, like you're saying, maybe this is the prick in the water balloon. But, you know, we thought that with Brian Finkel, and we've thought it with others too. So we have to kind of temper that.
It is. It's just moving slower than we'd hoped for.
Right.
And we're working for it.
And what you call it, mainstream media. Yeah. And I noticed even on one of the biggest national papers, they put this way back on one of them little pages, just a little thing. And I remember, Troy, you looking at this guy's a serial killer, and they got just a little teeny little column about it.
If a person would have bumped into somebody, like somebody said,
it'd
be front page
news. If you had an 80-year-old nun praying the rosary, and she stepped 1 inch onto,
it'd be all over the front page.
It'd be on front page.
Well, how many people were killed in Arizona by that gunman?
6.
This man killed 8 people. Right. He gets this much.
Right.
8 people that they know. I mean, that they're
charging
charging
him.
him.
The district attorney said he has been doing this for a long time, and the only reason they can't charge him for more is because he destroyed medical records.